I would like to thank Carissa McKnight for this story. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman that I'm about to tell you about is a victim. She and her daughter were in the car with Philando Castile when he was shot by the police. And if you remember, she was the one that put everything on Facebook Live. Well, there was a settlement, and she ended up getting $800,000. Well, the mayor couldn't resist. You know, usually if somebody's already been victimized, the right thing to do would be to back off and just shut the hell up. But the mayor could not leave well enough alone and came out and made a remark that she would spend all her money on drugs, and this woman don't even do drugs like that, and she doesn't do any crack. But just judging from what this mayor says, he's full of the typical stereotypes and couldn't resist. So this woman already a victim, and he came around to victimize her again. This came out in the Griot. Philando Castile's girlfriend sued mayor over crack cocaine tweet. Tom McBroom once tweeted that she needed to get off welfare. And by the way, most white people are the ones that are welfare recipients in America. And that's put out by the US Census. So if you don't agree, then your fight is with the US Census. They put the numbers out and they say white people are the biggest welfare recipients in America. Your fight is not arguing back and forth with Black people. If you don't like it, go see the US Census. They said that's the case. And in half a year, she would lose her money on drugs, which she doesn't do drugs. So, ladies and gentlemen, Diamond Reynolds, who was front and center sitting beside her boyfriend, Philando Castile, when he was shot and killed by a cop in 2016, is suing. Good. Elysian, Minnesota mayor for a tweet she says attacked her character, and she has every right to do that. This mayor sounds very ignorant and should not be mayor anywhere in this country with that kind of attitude. According to the suit, Tom McBroom, a former Rice County Sheriff deputy, well, there go part of your problem right there, launched a calculus tweet back in 2017 aimed at Reynolds, saying she needs to come off county and state aid, which many white people get, by the way. And I bet you, how many times have you said that to your own people, Tom McBroom? I bet you zero. And now that she has some cash, and that's the big part of the problem, ladies and gentlemen. He don't like the fact that she got $800,000. That is what disturbed him to the point where he went out on Twitter with this crap. As a mayor, he should have kept his damn mouth shut. Now running his big mouth out on Twitter has cost him. And this is what we need to be doing collectively in our community. When they go out and put these derogatory things out there, you sue their butts. You sue them. It'll be gone in 6 months on crack cocaine, the Star Tribune reports. Now, again, what sitting mayor does some mess like that? He should have been removed from office immediately. He was just sore that someone Black got that kind of money, and it pissed him off. He couldn't even contain himself. or even be professional. Reynolds, who was black, live streamed the aftermath of Castile's shooting death and received $800,000 in settlements. McBroom is white and was elected to mayor in 2018. He doesn't need to be mayor anywhere. The defendant was alleging that plaintiff is an abuser of serious drugs, has an addiction that causes her financial stress, which he doesn't know all of this about her. She doesn't have a history of drug abuse. He was just putting bullshit like that out there on Twitter, and is someone who bases her entire existence in terms of her costs of daily living on support from municipalities and other state of Minnesota entities, the suit said. According to the suit, McBroom's comments are defamatory, and they are false and racially motivated. Exactly. It goes back to that black people and welfare, and the same people saying this to you, the majority of them are on welfare. Okay, plain and simple. They are the majority on welfare, but they're saying these things to the black community. When McBroom was previously asked why he assumed that Reynolds, who did not have a history of drugs, was a crack user, he replied history, according to the Minnesota Star Tribune. But it's not in her history, so how can it be history, you idiot? McBroom has since tried to defend himself by claiming that his words were being misinterpreted. There's no way to misinterpret what you said, saying that he meant that he had seen a history of people blowing money when they got in settlements, according to the city pages. So what? Once people get the settlement, what they do with the money is their business. It has nothing to do with him. Why is he worried about what people are going to do with their money? You know why? Because she's a black female that won a huge settlement. That's what this all adds up to. McBroom was under fire and ultimately demoted for misconduct, according to the outlet. He should have been kicked out. There should be no demotion. He should have been kicked out. His comments were not the belief of our agency. Y'all put these benign statements out all the time, and you know what? It means nothing. But let me go ahead and read this. His comments were not the belief of our agency, and we're trying to move forward in a positive manner, Sheriff Troy Dunn said. I hope that the public just trusts that we're in this to do the right thing, and that we're trying to provide great training and great people to do a job here. It's a bullshit statement. It's a bullshit statement. You hired that racist. So when he spirals out of control, you want to put these laughable statements out that mean nothing. These statements don't mean anything. And number two, remember, you just demoted him. You didn't throw him out. You didn't fire him. So how are we supposed to see this whole thing in a positive light, Troy? And you just took this man and demoted him. You should have fired him. He don't need a demotion. He doesn't need to be in any kind of government position, especially in a location where there are black people that live there, because he's already told you how he feels about black people in his statement to Diamond Reynolds. The suit contends that Reynolds is suffering from pain, emotional distress, and damage to her reputation. Exactly. Look at everything she's gone through. This mayor is just sitting on his ass and making all kinds of assumptions about a person that he don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in situations where white people would try to have conversations with me about black folks being on welfare, and I never been on welfare a day in my life. My parents were never on welfare. My grandparents were never on welfare. When do you want me to stop? People in my family got their asses up and worked. No one was on welfare or getting food stamps or anything like that. We worked. So it's stupid for you to assume a whole community of people are on welfare. That's dumb. But I guess that points back to that lie IQ you all have. The conduct of the defendant delineated within was intentional and constitutes intentional infliction of emotional distress, the suit said. She is seeking $50,000 in damages and attorney fees. Good for her. If anything else, ladies and gentlemen, this should be done a hell of a lot more often when these folks feel compelled to come out and make these statements in the public. All right? This is what should be done. Don't sit on your hands and just take this stuff. You don't have to take it. None of us do. Okay? None of us do. But I'm going to go right back to what I said in the beginning. These folks make these sort of comments, but the US Census, the one that says we're 13% of the population, well, that same US Census says most white people are on welfare in this country. And I want you to also notice when the welfare fraud stories come out, you're going to see white faces that are committing the welfare fraud in America as well. You can pull up story after story after story after story after story. I don't have to make this stuff up. It's out there. So if these things aren't true, then you might want to consider suing the US Census for saying that you are the ones getting the most welfare and food stamps in the country. Perhaps you should sue the US Census. They're the ones saying it and collecting the numbers. Just like you're trying to insist it is correct that we're 13% of the population, since the US Census is saying that you are the biggest welfare recipients and food stamp recipients in the US, we're going to go by that same number and say it's you. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. And well done, Diamond Reynolds. And I hope she prevails in her lawsuit. Peace, family.